10 to start this Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix Road America powered by Mazda. Fantastic race on tap. We saw a great race yesterday. It was one of those races where you did not know what to expect, but you had to mind the gaps and you had to mind your tires. Early, fast pace worked into losing quality grip with the cars, and ended up having a couple of passes right towards the end as that podium all started to kind of unravel for a few drivers. That podium chance unraveled as their tires started to go away towards the end. So mind the tires, keep them ready, get them ready to go for the last couple of laps. Charging the last 5 laps is what we saw yesterday for several drivers. So keep in mind, that's what we're going to look for again today here for this USF 2000 Grand Prix Road America powered by Mazda. We'll get Rob back up to the booth before we get ready to go green. Field now rolling off of pit lane and behind the Mazda safety car for the Mazda Road to Indy here at Road America. So as the field begins to take shape, they'll warm up these Cooper tires and go through what is a sun-drenched Road America today. Temperatures in the mid-60s, lower 70s as we begin our day today. High temperature later on today, about 76 degrees for the Verizon IndyCar Series. But this morning, it'll be a little bit cooler track temperature. Most of the track on the front half will have some sunlight to it. Back in Kettle Bottoms, you'll probably notice a few more shadows, including back into Marine Sweep, where they are now just past the Sargento Bridge as well. So there are some shaded areas, and we know that shade is going to bring a little bit more grip normally or traditionally during the day, but in the morning, a little bit cooler temperatures, it'll take a little bit more to get these tires up to temperature. But really with these open-wheel cars, these cars will bring these Cooper tires up to temperature fairly quickly. The key and critical thing is going to get through turn 1, turn 3, and turn 5 on that opening lap. If you can get cleanly through those first 3 corners, we saw a little bit of problem yesterday with many of the Mazda Road to Indy races where turn 5 was really the hot spot, just trying to maximize gain, maximize effort to get into the corner, under braking, get side by side with somebody, but getting up the hill side by side with somebody towards turn 6. Turn 6, it doesn't really get narrow, but it certainly feels like it gets narrow. In most cases, turn 6, that blind left-hander up the hill, getting single file out of turn 5, incredibly important, because if you're still side by side with somebody after turn 5, turn 6, turn 7 gets a little hairy as these cars come up to speed through that first race. A couple of cars kicking up some dust here in the carousel already this morning as the field very quickly taking shape and ready to come to the green flag here on the main Road America straightaway. So the field behind that Mazda pace car will start to pair up 2 by 2 as they get towards Canada Corner. And then they'll come up through Thunder Valley through turn 14, and they will unleash these Mazda engines around this 4-mile race course on this Sunday morning. Rob Howden speedily back to the PA booth this morning. Good morning, Rob.
Another golf cart ride.
You didn't have to run this.
No running this time.
Yeah. Last year you were a little out of breath by the time you got here.
Yeah, last year I burned a lot of calories from coming from pit lane back here to the booth. It's a long run down through the tunnel, but yeah, golf cart ride today. And Eric, this is going to be interesting because I think the key here, of course, Kyle Kirkwood able to jet away. He was able to come from the front row yesterday and get around Rasmus Lindh. He's got 3 Pabst Racing guys in front of him this time, and I think Kyle knows he's up against the juggernaut here at Road America, battling with Pabst and 3 of their drivers. And I guarantee you, too, Rasmus Lindh learned from that start yesterday. Even though he's a rookie in the series, he'll be on the throttle early here.
Well, I was talking before you got back to the PA booth. Really, the critical thing is to get through turn 1, 3, and 5. Once you get out of 5, to get single file as soon as you can, because obviously you don't want to lose that momentum going up into 6. If you're tied next to somebody side by side into that blind left-hander at 6, it makes it very difficult to get back to the lead group in front of you. So the back half of the field, it's going to be critical to really get on it shortly.
Agreed. Coming out of turn 14 up over the hill, we're getting set to go, folks. And indeed, green flag flying here at start-finish. We are underway. And again, as I expected, a better start for Rasmus Lindh. He gets on the throttle early to lead them down here into 1, but they're going to spread wide. 2, 3 wide now into turn number 1. Coming from the outside, I think that's Lucas Cole trying to go to the lead. Little dust coming in, couple of brake lockups. Otherwise, good coming down under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge. Again, turn 3, as Eric had said, so crucial. Turn 5 as well. They're stacked up like they are on this opening lap. They've got to give room to each other coming through. Turn number 1, 2, 3, clean thus far. Here's that long run, the downhill braking zone into turn number 5. A lot of people are already setting up down there for a great day of competition. Let's see who gets the lead when they first come through. I think it's Lucas Cole. He was able to get the outside, I believe. And no, there's a lot of brake lockup again going into turn number 5. Good coming out of turn 5, as Eric had said. Yeah, a couple drivers off. That looks like, is that turn 1? Indeed, drivers off the track in turn number 1. Looking over at one of the monitors here in the booth. Otherwise, good on the racetrack, but one of the standing monitors in the booth says 2 drivers off in turn number 1. One of them, I believe, one of the Bennett cars, potentially Sabra Cook.
And Sabra did not have a very good race yesterday. Spun early in that one and then spun in turn 7. Made pretty heavy contact with the wall.
You can see right front damage on that, Eric. Looking here at the driver of the next car, one of the black machines.
It almost looks like a half shaft there.
You know what? I said that to myself. I didn't want to spit it out. Like, really? It's the half shaft sitting in the middle of the road? But all the wheels are on it. I thought the same thing. Yeah, it looks like a half shaft.
That's a half shaft.
Yeah, it is. And he just throws it back in the under tray.
So we know for certain that one of the cars having some damage. And a car in turn 5 as well up against the wall.
A lot of contact. I had said I saw some more brake smoke going down to turn number 5. That's more than brake smoke. So that, I believe, one of the BN cars. I'm going to say that's probably Russell McDonough and Sabra Cook involved there in turn number 1, trying to pick up the car in turn 5, who's wrecked on the inside of the racetrack.
2 cars in 5, in fact.
Indeed, there's one stuck up against the wall and one sideways. So a lot of carnage here in the opening lap. And, Eric.
Dusty track, early morning, a little bit cooler track temperature than what they had most of the weekend.
No doubt about it. Young drivers as well, just, trying to recover from yesterday. It's always the issue. I always talk about how drivers' mindsets and strategies change when you come into a second race of a weekend, because depending on what happened in race number 1, it totally changes. Are you on recovery mode? Are you trying to get some revenge? Are you trying to get redemption? Whatever it may be. More drivers pulling in with damage, too. One of the exclusive Autosport cars coming in. Looks like the front wing was bouncing. That might have been Igor Frog in the 91. Mateus Solar-Obel into pit lane as well. We're going to be able to get, when they come across the line here, we'll tell you who the drivers are in turn number 5 as they fall down the order. Jose Sierra is definitely going to be one of them. Sierra, you can see one of the white and blue cars. That's a DE Force car. Jose Sierra involved. I wonder if that might be Max Peichel potentially in the number 14 involved as well. So drivers in the pit lane to get some work done. Darren Keene in the number 36, tough for him. Daniel Frost as well.
Looks like Russell McDonough, Max Peichel, Sabra Cook, and David Osborne, and Jose Serra as well, and Matthias Solar-Obel on pit lane, as well as Frost and Keene. So certainly the back half of the field sounds like they were probably trying to dodge the broken car in turn 1, and that may have caused some damage. Everybody getting checked up.
Good possibility as well. And you look at, I'm thinking the turn 5 one probably the biggest, because remember Sierra started fairly far up the order. Not all the way up, but Sierra was actually in the 12th position, so kind of right there in potentially part of the lead group, and everybody behind it would have been stacking up. Sierra, of course, starting 12th. Igor Fraga had some front-end damage starting right alongside him. So right now, as they come across the line, we'll reset for you. Lucas Cole on the front of this lineup because he was able to get the run to the outside of Rasmus Lint, as I had said. Kalen Frederick in the 3rd spot, so it's still Pabst Racing 1, 2, 3. Kyle Kirkwood in 4th, Julian Vanderwatt 5th, Colin Kaminsky up into the 6th position. Keith Donegan, podium yesterday for BN Racing in 7th. Corey Enders up to 8th. Alex Barron now 9th. He'll take advantage of that. Alex started in the 11th spot, gets 2 positions to 9th here when we go back to green. Michael D'Orlando 10th. Dakota Dickerson, who started 14th, will now restart 11th. Igor Fraga 12th. 13th is Kyle Dupel. 14th, Jacob Abel. 15th is Calvin Ming.
And the 37 of David Osborne, rear wing assembly completely dislodged as well.
And the left rear wasn't rolling. So there's major damage to the 37 of David Osborne. That's a tough way to finish for the Newman Walks Racing driver. That looks to me like someone probably piled into the back of him as they got into that braking zone of turn number 5.
Easy to do when you're checking up and you've already got some brake lockup And if you're getting on the binders so hard this morning, tires not fully up to temperature
Not at
yet.
all.
Just a lack of overall grip.
And the downhill run into turn number 5. The momentum of the car is making it harder to brake when you're on a downhill. The braking zone, then the braking period is a lot longer than it would be in a regular flat braking zone. Man, a lot of work going on over here in turn number 5.
Looks like those two cars may have been locked together because it just looks like left front, right front suspension components may be locked together. They may need to get a hook out there and pick up one of the cars just to get it picked up in a way. So this could be a little bit lengthy of a caution here, Rob, unfortunately, for this Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix Road America powered by Mazda.
Yeah, it's a shame. We always want these drivers to get as much track time as they possibly can, and you hope to have clean opening laps. When we got started, I wanted to take the time to actually, commend the drivers in USF 2000. They did a great job yesterday getting through those tight opening corners. Everybody actually, the paddock was pretty impressed that they were 2 wide and 3 wide for a time, and that's, again, a testament to the young drivers as they start to get more comfortable in these cars. Again, this isn't the first race of the season. For USF 2000, this is race number 4. Got the season started at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg in March, waited 2 months to get back on track on the road course at Indianapolis. Then they ran the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. So race number 4 for the young drivers in the first rung of the Mazda Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. 1 race in the books yesterday, and again, everybody just with that different mindset coming in here this morning. And as you said, Eric, and I think you're right, 8 o'clock in the morning, dusty track, not overly hot either. It was a lot warmer yesterday for their first race of the doubleheader. And, just kids getting up early in the morning, man. You got to get them focused. You got to clear out the cobwebs and hope they make the right decisions on the racetrack. But again, close quarters racing as well. Coming into that downhill braking zone of 5, all it takes is one driver moving over and not knowing there's a guy beside him. And this is what you get. 2 drivers into the wall on the right side of the track. Driver's right coming down into turn number 5.
Yeah, it looks like with all the safety equipment having to move one of the safety trucks, otherwise they would not have had a chance to get the safety car and the field through. Looks like an almost full track block is just with all the safety equipment over in turn 5.
Well, and let's assess the vehicles they've got down here. They got the flatbed truck, and that means so one of the cars isn't rolling at least. They'll probably have to flatbed one up. They'll be able to pick one up with the tow truck as well. Nice thing is they'll be able to get them down into turn number 5 as opposed to bringing them all the way back to the paddock. We will want to go to green as soon as we possibly can, but again, the crew's doing what they can to get things cleaned up. Here comes the field through.
And you see just how tight it is with that racetrack. It doesn't really narrow, but it certainly feels like it narrows. It's that little jog to the right just before you get into the braking zone. You see the brake marker, the 500 mark, just at that little jut out, and there's just a little bit of a move to the right, just enough, where sometimes if you're side by side with somebody, you're kind of queuing off that grass, that white painted line on the inside, and you move just slightly to the right, thinking that you're maintaining your line, and that can sometimes cause the contact, and that's about the same spot where you're going to end up every time.
Yeah.
When you make that contact. It's going to draw you then to the wall on the outside under the braking.
It's one of the things that makes turn 5 such an interesting corner, the downhill, the little bit of the jog you have to make before you get there. And then when you come down as well, the visuals of it, because as you can see to the left side of the left side of the screen, it opens up wide on the exit on the other side of the rumble. So you feel like you have a lot more room and you can carry more speed coming in there because there's just so much pavement on the outside of the racetrack. But again, down onto the new pavement, as you had said before, one of the interesting things about the track now with the old pavement and some of the new pavement, transitions that the drivers have to make and understanding the different levels of grip. Looks like we're starting to get there. They've got the flatbed into, I think, probably grab Sierra's car. But again, losing valuable time here for these young drivers. Again, working lap number 3, a couple laps in the books. This event's scheduled for 12 laps or 40 minutes, so still a long time to go. We're not even 10 minutes in, so a solid time window for us here. Lucas Cole getting the job done first and foremost. Rasmuth Lint did get a better start, got a jump coming up to the line, but again, you getting that draft coming down this long straightaway to turn number 1. Cole was able to dive to the left and make that run around the outside just as Kyle Kirkwood did yesterday to take the lead and then run all the way to the checkered flag as the race winner. Kirkwood comes in with the point lead. It's been a strong season for the young driver out of Florida. But again, of some of these rookies here,
sounds like lights out. We may go green this time by. Safety team and the wrecker leaving the scene in turn 5, so we may get this race underway.
Kudos to them. That was some quick work from what we saw when the cars were there to actually get them on the flatbed and up on the tow truck and done. So indeed, we're going to go back to green flag racing. We didn't lose much here at all. Congratulations and thank you to the crew here at Road America. They'll stack it up. Rasmus Lint right on the gearbox of Lucas Cole. The two Pabst racing cars first and second and third as well with Kalen Frederick. Here they go. They'll climb onto the throttle here as they'll work their way up the straightaway. Again, all these Mazda MZR power plants at full song by the time we get to start finish. Indeed, Rasmus Lint going to take a run here now. The rookie trying to go around Lucas Cole, third-year driver in USF 2000, side by side. Look at Kirkwood. He's going to try to go around the outside of Kalen Frederick. He can't do it. But we have a new leader. Rasmus Lint's been able to take away the lead. We're 3 wide again, coming in further back in the field. And that's some fast drivers trying to get forward. Eric Mateus Solar-Obel, Darren Keene. They want to waste no time trying to get back into the fray here mid-pack.
Well, you got to use the restart to your advantage. You got to pick off the slower traffic right away, because if you hang back there too long, then those leaders pull away from you and you're not able to chase them down. We've seen a couple of races all weekend where even if you slip back to the 10th or 11th position, you can get back to a top 4. We saw Parker Thompson do that yesterday. So we know you can do it, but you got to get as many spots on those restarts. Take advantage of those opportunities when you can.
Yeah, Newman Walks driver Darren Keene doing a great job. He was able to get by, I believe, Daniel Frost, Bruno Tomaselli, and I think Mateus Solar-Obel as well. So 4 spots in the opening corner there for Darren Keene, who had a 10th place finish yesterday and fell to the tail of the field after the incident here on the opening lap. Drivers finally settling in. We're now single file coming down to hurry downs, turn number 8. They'll rock out of that corner, get the car to rotate back on the throttle to head into this carousel. The downhill, off-camber, right-hander, such an important part of this racetrack, because of course Eric leads into that long run all the way over to Canada Corner.
And getting through out of 10 with a lot of momentum to get all of that speed, you can see different lines being used. It really depends on how the car is handling. If you got a little bit of understeer or oversteer, you're changing your entrance to that carousel to get that run through Kettle Bottoms down to Canada.
So the key here, let's watch Kyle Kirkwood. He's your point leader. He's trying to go to work to the outside of Kalen Frederick right now. Kirkwood, I believe, through. Indeed, no, he does not get through. I think that Frederick able to hold him back. Kirkwood went to the outside, but as we've seen quite a few times here this weekend, you'll see the drivers get a little wide coming out of that corner over under the rumbles and even over into the grass. We saw a lot of that in USF 2000 and Pro Mazda yesterday, and indeed, Kyle Kirkwood's lost some ground. He got shoved to the outside of the racetrack trying to do that outside run. Cars diving to the inside here as well. Wow, this is some tremendous racing. That's a little further back in the pack. I believe coming across the line there, that might have been D'Orlando, Dickerson, and Dupel. Again, down into 1. We're watching Alex Barron working his way forward. Now into the 10th position. Barron. Look at this battle here, though, for that 5th spot. P5. Julian Vanderwatt and Colin Kaminsky scrapping it out for 5th as the front-running quartet trying to stretch away. But that was, Eric, a real defensive move down to the inside of turn number 3. You save your position, but you give up so much exit speed.
Well, right, and when you're going into a long straightaway like what 3 leads into 4A underneath that Sargento Bridge into 5, that momentum that you lose on exit costs you at least a car length or 2 by the time you get down to the braking zone. So clearly you want to make sure that you're being defensive, but at the same time, you have to make sure that you're rotating that car through the center of the corner, rotating the mass to make sure that that car gets as much speed off on exit.
It's all about forward bite, right? You got to get the car pointed in the right direction. The sooner you're pointed in the direction and can climb back on the throttle, the better. The only way to make a straightaway longer is not to go deeper into the braking zone. You have to get on the throttle a lot earlier, and that's key in turn number 3. Now, one of the runs I'm watching right now is Corey Enders in the DE Force Racing number 11, able to get by Keith Donigan, now putting the pressure on Colin Kaminsky. That move to the inside for Colin allowed Vanderwatt to close up. It allowed Enders, Donigan, and Fraga to get there as well. So not only did they lose the exit speed coming out of turn number 3, but everybody behind them ran that proper line and really closed up all the way down into turn number 5.
I believe we may have had a spin over in turn 8. It might be Dickerson. I believe they called the 9 car. We'll check that when they come back to the start-finish line, but when the timing and scoring updates. But another spin and continue in turn 8. We saw quite a bit of brake lock up over there on this last lap. And again, a little bit of lack of grip over in turn 8 right now.
Lucas Cole still leading Rasmus Lint and Kalen Frederick as it's a Pabst Racing 1-2-3. Full course caution being thrown here at start-finish by Paul Blevins. Kirkwood resets fast lap of the race coming through, but indeed a full course caution on the racetrack. Trying to check out some of the monitors here, Eric, to see if we can see if there's an incident on track.
There's an issue in turn 12. A car may have gone into the gravel trap in turn 12. So
two drivers off, indeed. Yeah, coming out of Canada Corner, I believe that is that.
Yeah, Canada Corner on the exit.
A couple drivers.
At least two. Not sure. Waiting to see who it is. It looks like it may be.
That's one of the Newman Walks Racing entries for sure, and a Pelfrey car.
Quite a bit of damage on the Pelfrey car.
Look at that.
Rear.
Yeah, the left probably and right rear wing as well. Been told that potentially that car may have rolled over coming through there. So great to see both drivers getting out. I think one of that might be Darren Keene. Indeed, Darren Keene involved with one of the Team Pelfrey cars, Kyle Dupel. So Kyle Dupel and Darren Keene, a couple of young drivers that I've had a chance to watch run karts for the last number of years. They're not going to be happy with this incident coming out of the Canada Corner. They're working their way up at 12 through 13 over to 14. But happy that Kyle Dupel is fine after potentially going over in the Team Pelfrey number 81. That's the damage you saw there, man.
And, there's one corner marshal's reporting that it hopped, and the other corner marshal's reporting that they did see it go end over end. So,
well, looking at the damage on the car.
Quite a bit, yeah.
So, again, another full course yellow here as we were 5 laps in to a 12-lap contest. Darren Keene and Kyle Dupel. Again, Keene trying to recover after the incident at the start. He ends up working his way forward a couple of spots, then dropping back down.
And bringing the Gale over to help remove some of the cars here in the corner. You know, the interesting thing to note, it's still 22 and a half minutes or so left
There's lots
in
of
the
time.
timer. Plenty of time to get this race restarted. As long as both drivers are okay, we'll wait for the AMR safety team to arrive as well.
The beneficiary of this one here, Dakota Dickerson, he had spun, as you said, in turn number 8. That would have put him well back. He's still in 13th position. The spin and continue, and he is able to get back up to the guys in front of him. So Dickerson with a little bit of luck there. There's Dupel walking away, young driver to Portland, Oregon. Again, Darren Keene from Boca Raton, Florida. That corner, Eric, is where you're rolling through. Again, another important corner where you know exit speed's key. You got to get out of turn number 12, back through 13, again, through 14. There's just so much. The speed you get coming out of Canada Corner really does translate to be honest, down in turn number 1 as well. And you just can't make a mistake down there, but you're rolling so much speed. And then if you get off track and you get maybe sideways and you transition from the pavement runoff into the grass there, all it takes is to bite one wheel and you can go over for sure.
You know, one of the concerns when you're in turn 12 like that, it looks like definitely contact in the right rear for the 36
Indeed.
machine.
Darren Keene, you're right. That is a damage to the right rear suspension. So if you want to try to extrapolate from that, potentially Dupel trying to go to the inside as a move was being made to the outside, left front to right rear contact. The Gell doing an amazing job of getting Keene's car out of the way already. I'm sure he'll drop that one down, come back and get the car of Dupel. And again, we'll be able to go back to green flag racing. Let's reset now here as the field coming by start-finish. Lucas Cole, your leader. Rasmus Lint in second. Kyle Kirkwood able to get into third, so he gets one spot for the Pabst team. Frederick in fourth. Julian Vanderwatt fifth. Colin Kaminsky in sixth. Corey Anderson seventh. Alex Barron now up to eighth. Keith Donigan in ninth. And Igor Fraga for Exclusive Autosport in 10th. Team Benix Michael D'Orlando in 11th. Calvin Ming from Pabst in 12th. Dakota Dickerson for Arms Up Motorsports resets himself in 13th. Mateus Solarobo, Daniel Frost, Bruno Tomaselli, and Oscar Di Lazuriaga, who had trouble early, now find themselves battling within the top 15 or trying to get into the top 15. Sometimes you just got to stay out of trouble. Jacob Abel continuing as well. So 18 drivers, it appears, to continue. Cabrera came into the pits. I'm not sure. I think he was able to get back out, maybe back into pit lane to make another either adjustment or repair for Manuel Cabrera. Currently ranked 19th. He does have all 6 laps in the books at this point.
believe he had some contact yesterday as well that ended their day early. Not a good weekend for those guys here at Road America.
Interesting, talking to the team owner of Exclusive Autosport, Michael Duncalf. The issue, of course, with Manuel Cabrera, ripped the front wing off, and actually what it did was it actually cut the brake line as well. That's why he went off track, because he had no brakes. You don't want to say he was lucky that happened, but
not a place you want to run out of brakes.
The problem is he had been off track before, it pulled some grass in, the engine was actually overheating, very close to actually boil all the fluid out of it. He might have blew the engine. So it's one of those give and takes where in the end for Manuel Cabrera, that might have been a lucky thing, otherwise having to replace one of the Mazda power plants. But Cabrera, a solid young rookie driver, getting his feet wet here in the USF 2000 program in 2018, and just kind of getting more comfortable with what is required driving these Tatis USF 17 cars. And I'll tell you, they're really able to stretch their legs here at Road America. That's one of the things we love about coming here is, we'll run some of the street courses where, there's some long straightaways, but you're not really getting to the very full potential of the car. Same said to Barber Motorsports Park, where it's just the undulations. You're really handling that car, the ups and downs and some of the sweepers. We get here to Road America, and we'll find out what these engines can do and the cars can do, because they obviously rip out of turn number 14, and, man, it's that nice long run down into turn number 1.
What I really like about these cars as well is they're so light, they're so nimble. Unfortunately, it does take a little bit longer to put heat in the tires.
True. That's very, very true. We see that in qualifying, right? Whereas Indy Lights maybe lap 1 or lap 2, when you're trying to match all the aspects of getting that qualifying run laid down, tire pressure, tire temp, peak tire. It happens so early. Pro Mazda a little bit longer than, as you said, sometimes we'll see guys, and on a regular basis, the fastest run is like the 5th or 6th lap once they've gone to new rubber in qualifying. It just takes a little bit longer, as you said, to get these drivers to bring these Coopers up to temperature. And a lot of times we're qualifying pretty early in the morning as well. So it looks to me, Eric, like they're just getting the final car off the track, so we're probably going to be able to go to green. The AMR safety team's going to leave the scene as well.
Yeah, safety car's off in 13.
Yeah. We're going racing, folks. Here we are again. Top 4 drivers will stack them up. Gearbox to nose all the way back to Kalen Frederick. Julian Vanderwatt's heading to pit lane. Trouble for Vanderwatt, pulling off from 5th. Why wouldn't he have... I don't know why he wouldn't have done that a lap earlier, but Vanderwatt pulls off from 5th. That's going to move Colin Kaminsky to the position. And further back, look out. Now that may have been a drive-through penalty. That's a potential drive-through for Julian Vanderwatt for him to come in to start the race like that. We'll watch to see if he drives all the way through and comes back onto the racing surface. But again, back to racing. Here we go. Kirkwood, he's going to make his bid for second. He'll go down to the inside. Indeed, Kirkwood to the inside of Rasmus Lint, I believe.
Still a lot of breakup into turn 3 here on that start.
Kyle Kirkwood, knowing he had to go head-to-head against 3 of the 4 Pabst racing cars. So, we're getting aggressive coming down into turn number 5, Eric. That was a little bit of a pinch down to the inside. Kirkwood getting held back. They'll come down into the braking zone of 5. Draw driver off. I believe that was Lucas Cole. Cole overcooks it. The Belco-sponsored number 22. I want to say he went off at turn number 5. Oh, contact, more contact. That's one of the DE Force cars. Top of the hill at turn number 6. Man, you hope the cooler heads will prevail, but we have had a rough one here. 2 drivers together in turn number 6, and that was a driver on the inside trying to make the move, Eric. Just got too overzealous. That was right front to left rear contact. I'm not sure if that was Corey Enders on
It's
Colin
Enders
Kaminsky.
and Ming.
And Ming, you think?
21 and the 11 is what I believe that they're reporting. So that would be...
That must have been a great start for Calvin Ming to come from 10th to get up into that fight with Enders. 5 laps to go in the race. Now, at this point, there's a shot of the 2 cars there. Hard to pick up which car it is to the right, whether it looks
Frost has pulled off as well somewhere.
Wow, attrition. Definitely a storyline here for the opening race of this weekend.
I think what actually happened is Enders got woed up because of Cole going off and dropped back a couple of spots into 5, and that's how Ming ended up making contact with Enders.
Piecing together the puzzle
here.
Right?
You're just trying to think how you can get 2 cars that are on the restart 7 cars apart and now make contact. So definitely something going on in the back. But full course caution for the third time.
Yeah. again, the double yellows being thrown here at start finish, as it was actually Rasmus Lint who went off. It wasn't Lucas Cole. It was Lint with the red end plate. Here's a replay coming up through turn number 6. So Lint goes off.
Yeah,
we're essentially three wide.
Yeah,
they're 3 wide, and that was
that's early contact. That's well before even turn in there.
Yeah, that looked to me like the driver coming across. I think maybe Corey Enders might have wanted to hold up a little bit there. I don't know, because he was on the inside. That might have been kind of an early turn in to try to put as a block move, and it just didn't go well. That is for sure. Indeed, you're right. It was Corey Enders and Calvin Ming top of the hill. I think Calvin Ming maybe turning in a little early to try to see if he couldn't defend from Corey Enders, and they were looking 3 wide, as you said, as Enders was having a peek to the inside. So a ton of drivers getting involved here. We're already, 17 down to 26 out of this race. Lucas Cole is your leader. Kyle Kirkwood second. We still have lots of time. That's the thing. We've got 4 laps to go in 13 minutes. Whenever we do get back to green, we're going to still have a chance to finish all the laps. But Lucas Cole and Kyle Kirkwood first and second. Kirkwood is loving what's happening right now. He's been able first to get by Kalen Frederick. Then Rasmus Lint overshoots the braking zone in turn number 5. He goes off. Kirkwood finds himself now in second with a shot at potentially going after another race win. Kalen Frederick now runs in third. Colin Kaminsky, his best career effort thus far, running in the 4th position in this Slick Locks number 27. Igor Fraga in 5th spot. Michael D'Orlando in 6th. D'Orlando up to 6th. Dickerson after the spin in turn number 8 benefits from the yellows. He's in 7th. Kyle Donigan in 8th. Mateus Soler-Obel in 9th. Alex Barron, obviously, I want to say he might have got caught up in the incident where, actually, he might have got caught up in that incident and had to check up, because I think he was right behind Ming and Enders. That puts Barron back to 10th. Manuel Cabrera up to 11th. Bruno Tomaselli in 12th. Oscar De La Zuriaga 13th. Jacob Abel 14th. I haven't seen Rasmus Lint come back around to get lap number 8, Eric, so I don't know if potentially Lint went off so quick he may have made contact with the tires in the runoff area. Because he went off with a head of steam.
He was full lock going through 5, and that's not a deep runoff area. No. It is, but you have to navigate 2 tire barriers. But yeah, it'd be really easy for him to make contact back in that turn 5 cutoff area.
Well, he hasn't come around to complete lap number 8. So let's just say at this point, lap down for Rasmus Lint, which a shame. 5th place yesterday, a couple of pole positions, but nonetheless, I want to say not so much a breakout weekend, but at least he gave us a really good look at the talent that young Swedish driver has. And I know that he's going to be in the fight for some race wins before this season is over. So drivers out of the race: Rasmus Lint, Corey Enders, Calvin Ming, Daniel Frost, Julian Vanderwatt, Kyle Dupel, Darren Keene, David Osborne, Jose Sierra, Max Peichel, Sabre Cook, and Russell McDonough. We haven't had this much attrition in a USF 2000 race in a couple of years. We're going to be, we got 3 to go, 4 to go. 4 laps remaining, I believe. Or will they have put lap? I think they'll put.
Should be 3 to go this time.
I think they'll put lap 9 in the books now as they come around. So
you should get a green, white checker finish.
Oh, here we go.
What do you do with a race that they've been lack of overall grip, little physical, and then you're going to give them 2-lap sprint?
Well, and you're going to look at some guys to get super aggressive. You got Alex Barron's going to be just seething, whatever, because he has worked his way from 11th to 8th, back to 9th, then 10th, then back up again. He'll be dying to work his way forward. But guys like Dakota Dickerson coming up nicely into the 7th position. Great run for him. Taking some time to get the cars loaded up here. Hoping we're going to get at least a green-white check or 2-lap dash to wrap this thing up.
The problem is with all the contact, all of the wreckers are busy at the moment. So you get to a point where you almost run out of wrecker.
Right. Slamming those cars in the boneyard. Yeah, they're still trying. So they've got the car of Corey Enders up on the hook. At this point, they're going to see what we can do here with that car of Calvin Ming, the number 21.
Yeah, we may not even get 2 laps of green. We may only get 1 lap of green.
Agreed.
If they go back.
So at this point, Lucas Cole, your leader. But he's got the point leader right behind him, Kyle Kirkwood. And I'll tell you, Lucas Cole waiting to get his first victory.
For Kirkwood, really, he dropped down quite a few spots at the initial start. And then with the advantage for him was multiple yellows, able to kind of capitalize and leapfrog a couple of cars to get back to where he's sitting on the podium right now.
The funny thing about Kyle Kirkwood, right now he could take a second-place finish and have a massive lead in the points, especially with all these drivers who are battling in the title chase, finishing behind him. But, when you get a guy like Kirkwood who wants to win races, he's going to go to work trying to get by Lucas Cole. Lucas, of course, trying to get his first ever race win in the Mazda Road to Indy. Young driver out of Brazil, finished on the podium here last year, and again would love to be able to get that win, his first, kind of get that monkey off his back. Lucas Cole working with Roberto Moreno, his driver coach. And Lucas has really developed over the last couple of years. Began his career in this program with John Comiskey Racing. Moved last year to Pabst Racing and got quicker throughout the season, of course, running with Renus VK and Calvin Ming. And it really has shown good speed this year. I think it would be a positive for the Road to Indy if Lucas would be able to stand on top of the podium. But again, he's got his teammate Caleb Frederick in third. He's got Kyle Kirkwood in second. This is going to be a barn burner for sure. Kirkwood's going to take a run at it. 3 laps to go. It'll be 2 to go when they come back around. We may get, indeed, unless they are able to get this car of Calvin Ming out of the way, we may see a white flag, a green and white, and having 1 lap to drop the hammer to see where everyone finishes. Again, Lucas Cole, your leader. Kyle Kirkwood second. Caleb Frederick in third. Colin Kaminsky fourth. And Igor Fraga now up into the 5th position. Michael,
some fans may be asking themselves, why don't they slow the pace car down a little bit, try to give them a little bit more room? You can't. Really, you need to keep the heat in these tires.
So that's why the heat in the tires. We need the air coming through the radiators to keep the engines cool. And these cars don't run that slow. They're at whatever gear you're in, you're only going to be able to hold a certain pace. Now they're just grabbing the car of Calvin Ming. I think we're pretty close here. I think we'll probably be able to go green next time by. They'll be able to get this car up and pull it off the racetrack.
Which means we'll get 1 lap of green.
Which means we'll get 1 lap of green. Yeah, indeed. Working lap number 11.
Well, they're definitely doing it uniquely.
They are. Multitasking up here. They've got 1 car. That's the number 11 of Corey Enders. The D-Force Racing car on the flatbed. They've lifted up Calvin Ming's car. They're just going to back it up off the track. And indeed, we will be able to go racing this next time by. And we're going to go essentially, as Eric had said, white and green. It is going to be a 1-lap dash. And if you want to see things stack up, because you have got to be sure that Lucas Cole will be driving down the inside of turn number 1, the inside of turn 3, the inside of turn 5. He'll go on full defense mode, trying to score his first win in his Mazda Road to Indy career. And that's going to bring Kaminsky, Fraga, D'Orlando, Dickerson, going to bring all those guys in, because once it stacks up, everybody stacks up. 14 drivers remain on the racetrack. Cole, Kirkwood, Frederick, Kaminsky, and Fraga, top 5. D'Orlando, Dickerson, Donigan, Solar Obel, and Barron, top 10. Cabrera, Tomaselli, De La Zuriaga, and Abel still on the racetrack. Not the start we were looking for to the 2 Mazda Road to Indy events today. Of course, Indy Lights coming up later on. We'll have them on the racetrack for the second run of their doubleheader weekend. Of course, Colton Herta looking to score his 5th straight win of the year. Point leader looking good for Andretti Autosport.
Lights up, flags down is what's coming from race control.
Because the drivers will know it coming up the hill. They'll see that we're almost done here. And as you said, the lights out now on the pace car. We are ready to go. Well, it's going to be exciting. That's all I can tell you. I'm hoping you're enjoying your morning coffee out there wherever you are. Whatever corner you're in, get ready, because these USF 2000 drivers are going to be hungry to try to work their way, whether it's those trying to get into the top 10 or the top 5 or onto the podium, or if you're Kyle Kirkwood and Kalen Frederick trying to get a race win here today. Cole and Frederick have not yet won. Kirkwood, of course, a number of victories this year. Only 1 driver in the I want to say one driver in the top 5. Indeed, Kirkwood has been able to win before. So every one of these drivers, other than Kirkwood, with a shot at trying to score their first Mazda Road to Indy victory. So Lucas Cole will lead them when they come out of turn number 14. 1 lap dash to see who wins race number 2 here at the Kohler Grand Prix. Again, to be in the mind of the drivers here right now, and of course you know that their engineers and spotters are on the radio trying to calm some of these young drivers down. Stay focused. Let's bring this thing home. Especially some of the drivers further back. Listen, you got a good result here now. You stayed out of trouble. You're a top 15 driver. Let's bank some points. Bring this car home in one piece.
But Rob, there's a trophy.
I know, there's a trophy. That's right. I got to win. Well, you know what? Lucas Cole wants that win because he's still in the championship chase. Out of turn number 14, get ready. USF 2000, 1 lap dash to try to decide the podium here in race number 2. Cole's going to get on the throttle early. He'll climb back into it, up the hill. Cole is on it. Kirkwood right there, though. You know he's going to get the draft coming up. Indeed, Kirkwood will park himself on the gearbox. Frederick trying to get up there as well. Not the best start for Kalen Frederick. They'll go down into turn number 1. Kirkwood already to the outside. He's potentially going to get by. He is. He's already passed, but here comes Frederick to the inside. Frederick makes the move to the inside, coming through 1, and they get through cleanly. Down the hill again. Kyle Kirkwood is taking the lead early. Is it too much? Little brake lock up on the right front there for Lucas Cole. That may hurt him getting on the throttle coming back out of turn 3. Eric, here's the run now down to turn number 5.
Underneath the Sargento Bridge, heading towards the braking zone. This is the prime passing opportunity. It's your real one last chance to get a good momentum until 12.
Lucas Cole going to have a look to the inside at turn number 5 as they come down into that braking zone. In fact, the outside, but he runs a little bit wide. Put Frederick now into second. That was an outside try there for Lucas Cole. Overcooked it, pushed a bit wide, couldn't get the car to rotate. And I'll tell you, Frederick doing the outside in. He now goes to P2. It's about 4 car lengths as they come out of turn number 6 through 7. So at this point here, Kalen Frederick in the driver's seat trying to go to work on Kyle Kirkwood. Now it's all going to come down to having the speed through the carousel.
A lot of K's in the front podium right now.
No doubt about that. Kirkwood, Frederick, 1-2. Look at Kirkwood pulling away. He gets out of the carousel so cleanly, able to work his way over to the kink with probably about 4 or 5 car lengths. I don't know if Kirkwood's got anything going into Canada corner. He needed to be a lot closer coming out of the carousel. But Frederick now into second. Kirkwood, your leader. Good racing further back. Kaminsky's dropped a spot. I think Igor Fraga up there now to challenge Lucas Cole. Indeed, Fraga on the outside. Cole on the inside coming through Canada. One of them well off the track. That was Fraga got shuffled off to the outside. Kaminsky back into 4th. Fraga back to 5th. Here comes the run to the line. Kirkwood coming out of 14. Frederick throwing everything he can at him. Can't quite get the job done. What a weekend. Everyone else around them losing their minds, but not Kyle Kirkwood. Double checker. A win at Road America. Back-to-back jacks for Kyle Kirkwood. Kirkwood, your point leader, winning again. Kalen Frederick in second. Lucas Cole in third. Colin Kaminsky 4th. Igor Fraga in 5th.
Doubling down in the land of cheese. Kyle Kirkwood, how's it feel to sweep the weekend here at Road America?
Oh, it feels amazing. That win was one of the better wins this year. No doubt about it. I had to fight hard to get it, and we were under caution for so long. It was just a last lap dash for cash, really. And luckily I got him going down into turn 1 and held him off for the rest of the lap.
Now, you talk about it being kind of a caution fest. Talk to me, why were there so many yellow flags in this one here today?
I'm honestly not sure. I don't know what was going on behind me. I couldn't see it. I imagine people were just cold tires, trying to go do something as if they could do it yesterday, or when they could do it yesterday with the cold tires, and it probably just didn't work out to the plan. But everyone seemed a little bit crazy this morning. I'm not sure why. Maybe too much caffeine or something.
Too much caffeine. I think that's a fair that's a fair assessment. There's USF 2000 cars coming back on the trailer right now. You and Alex Barron, the only 2 drivers to win races so far in 2018. Anybody else going to get a chance?
Rasmus is looking really good. He was quick at Lucas Oil Raceway, and he was quick here. So I imagine we'll see him up front for the rest of the season.
All right, Kyle Kirkwood feeling a little bit nervous from the Swede, but I don't think he's shaking too hard right now. He's got the championship point lead and a whole lot of wins here in Wisconsin. Kyle, congratulations. We will see you in a few weeks.
Thank you so much, Tony.